Welcome everyone. In today's session, we're going to learn for the QuickBook in the banking section. The banking area is one of the most important area in QuickBook, and that is very helpful for the client, for the accountant, for the bookkeeping purpose. So if you work as a bookkeeper or if you are an accountant, the QuickBook introduced a very important tools here for the banking section. So if you click on the banking, that will take you to the banking page. Now you will only see this option in the QuickBook Online, and once you open this section, you'll see all the details that linked from your bank. For example, you can always add the bank card here. It could be your debit card, it could be your credit card, and all this information you have from the bank, it will come automatically to your QuickBook. For example, let's say if you like to connect a bank with QuickBook, you can click here link account, and that will take you to the bank link account section. From there, you have to choose the bank you have for the business account, and from there you have to enter the login detail. And once you enter the login detail, all this information from the bank that will come automatically to your QuickBook banking section. Also, if you don't want to include your bank, or if you don't like to link your bank to the QuickBook, you can always upload the file. That has to be CSV. You can always upload the file into the QuickBook. So once you upload the file, QuickBook file, you will see all this information on the for view section. You have a three section in the banking. The first one is for view, the next one is categorized, and the next one is excluded. For view section will open for you all the transaction, and it will ask you to view all the transaction and to decide to categorize it. So from here, for the for view section, you will see all this transaction with the description that come from the bank with the date. You can always filter the date the way you like. So from the oldest to newest or newest to oldest, you can always do that. On the description section, this information will be extracted from the bank, from the PAYE. So pay information also come from the bank as well. On the category, this is a very unique section. This is the one that QuickBook will tell you is it match or not. So if any transaction that you have categorized as income or expense previously, the QuickBook will automatically grab that, identify that as an income or as an expense. On the other hand, if the QuickBook said it is uncategorized, that means QuickBook have no idea about this transaction, and you have to tell is it what category expense. So all you need to do, you need to click on the categorize, and the new section will be open. So you have to select some information from here. There is option called find match or record as a transfer. So you can choose. If you try to look for, you said this transaction I have done before, I want to match it with the previous transaction, you can always look for that. Or if you think it is a new transaction, you can always make a new category. For example, you can choose the supplier name as a payment. So let's say it is Andrew. Choose the supplier name, and all this transaction for Andrew you can see it here. So once you select that, rest of the transaction will be automatically matched if you said this is this category expense. Let's say we decided this is our utilities. Let's say it is gas and electricity. After that, on the VAT section is automatically 20%, but you have a choice. You can say it is no VAT exempted. You can always do that. Then the location, that will help you to make more clear about your transaction. Why did you pay it for, to whom, what was the location? Maybe for example you have a same supplier named Andrew in a different location, so you might choose is a London. And the class, so class you can say this is what, which class the expenses, you can always add the new one. Or let's say you said this was for the new class, you say that's utilities, and you can save it. So once you've done everything, on the memo section, you can always write the invoice number. Anything you like to add, you can add it here. Any information that will help you to remember this transaction, you can write it down here. Top of that, you can add attachment that could be helpful. For example, the invoice or anything you like to add. Then you can create a rules for future. So same transaction, the rules will be followed automatically. And the exclude. Exclude is the information that you include. You use the exclude section when this transaction is already there. For example, sometimes this happened, you already entered the invoice and again the invoice come from your bank transaction. So you don't want to make it double. That's why you exclude one, maybe the one you enter manually or the one come from the bank. So if you know the transaction you already entered, this invoice is already entered in the system, so you don't want to record it again from the bank information, you just exclude it. So once you're happy, you click add, and that will be added, and it will be gone from the for view section to the categorize section. Now you can see we have 7 transactions that we have to categorize. If we click on the categorize, we can see this information is here. So supplier, utilities, we already choose that. For any reason, if you think that wasn't the correct one, you want to change it, you can always undo it and you'll go back to the for review section again. If something you already included in the system, in the software before, and because of the bank transaction is coming again, you can always exclude it, and you can see always in the exclude section, you can always click undo to go back to the for review section. So for review section is very useful, and all this information come from the bank straight away. So all you need to do, you need to refresh your bank and it will be refreshed automatically. But every 90 days you have to put your membership number again for the bank, and you have to reconnect it again for the security purpose. But QuickBook is quite secure and it is linked to the bank, and obviously all the information come here, that is very confidential. So unless you share with anyone, either your client or accountant, no one can see it, and they are conducted by all the regulation.